Hello, my name is Jose Valencia, and I will be discussing Goal the Dream Begins, directed by Danny Cannon. This is a sports drama film released in 2005. Um, One of the main points and themes of this story is how Santiago Nunez is very different than his father. They think very different, and they never agree on the same and on the topics they talk about. Santiago migrated from Mexico and dreams to become a professional soccer player, and it's very difficult for him to become one because he plays in LA with an unknown soccer team, and the chances of him becoming a professional soccer player are very unlikely. And his dad works in the yards, and he wants to buy a truck so his son Santiago and him start their own business, and they would go 50-50 on the profit. Santiago has his mind clear in that he wants to become a professional soccer player, but he in the story he faces a lot of hardships. For example, when he traveled to England for the trial with Newcastle, it was very difficult for him because the conditions were very different. The weather was totally different. It was super rainy. It was the conditions of the field were muddy, and it was just very difficult for him to show what he had because you couldn't play in those conditions. And also it was very difficult for him with his teammates because his teammates never liked him because they didn't want him on the team because he would take one of their spots, and that meant less playing time for them. But one of the persons who was very inspiring and very good to Santiago was Glenn Floyd, his manager, because he always encouraged him to work harder, to never give up, and I we see that throughout the story Im, when Santiago faces emotional attacks when he wants to return back to LA because he's going through a lot, and he encourages encourages Santiago to not give up, and he knows he has a lot of talent, and if he goes back he's going to waste his talent. And also another hardship he faces is when it's because he has asthma attacks, and he never told the team he did, and and when and it was very difficult for him to tell them because he already lied, and he was going to get kicked out of the team because he wasn't performing as well. And so I think this made it worse for him because I know how it feels because I'm a soccer player and I used to have asthma attacks, and it's very difficult to perform well when you don't take treatments. And I also understand how the weather and everything and all the different the atmosphere and everything would help him. It's just very different and very difficult. And another person that changed the way he thought and helped him a lot was Devin Harris, who was a his teammate. He helped him in a way which encouraged them to never give up, and they lived together, which was David Harris was also he partied a lot, and he encouraged Santiago to do so as well. And it wasn't good, but he was a person that could he was a person who inspired Santiago because he was very although he liked to party and drink a lot, he was also a very good talented soccer player. And I feel that without him being in his life, it would have been very different because he was very popular and he introduced a lot of the teammates to Santiago, and that's how he started to make friends. And this story was very inspiring because for me, I play soccer, and my goal is to become a professional soccer player, and I know that you have to face a lot of hardships. There's going to be a lot of problems and situations you don't know how to deal with. And for me, this was very inspiring and emotional on the way he wanted to quit, but Glenn Floyd always encouraged him to never give up. And I thought Glenn Floyd was like a second father to him because his dad never liked the idea of him becoming a professional soccer player. And later on in the story, in the movie, his father died, and I imagine how he would have felt knowing his father never liked the idea and he made it professionally. And it's very sad. And also the music in the movie is emotional and inspiring as well. And yeah.